You are doing fine. You have a job. You have a place to sleep. You have food in the fridge. By historical standards, you are living a life of unprecedented safety and stability. But then, it's a Tuesday afternoon. You open your phone. You see a peer buying a house, a friend getting married, a 24-year-old millionaire on your feed, and suddenly that cold, familiar weight sets in. The feeling that you are behind, that you are failing at life. It's a strange contradiction. You have everything you need to be okay right now, yet you feel more inadequate than a peasant living in the Middle Ages. Why? If you have everything you need, whose schedule are you actually failing to meet? In this video, we are going to uncover the psychological glitch that makes you obsess over where you should be. We will look at an ancient insight from 2,000 years ago that proves the race you feel you are losing doesn't actually exist. And by the end, you will see your timeline in a completely different way. Meet Alex. Alex is in his 30s and has a perfectly normal life. He earns a decent living, has good friends, and pays his bills on time. But underneath the surface, Alex operates on a deep, hidden belief. If I hit the standard milestones, the house, the marriage, the promotion, by a certain age, I will finally feel secure. I will finally feel like I've made it. So, Alex tries to catch up, waking up at 5 a.m., downloading productivity apps, taking extra shifts, constantly rushing from one task to the next. He is never able to just sit still and enjoy the present moment because sitting still feels like falling behind. But here is the breaking point. Alex finally gets that promotion he spent 3 years sacrificing for, and for about 48 hours, he feels great. But 2 days later, the feeling of being behind returns, just as heavy as before. The goalpost moves. Now, instead of comparing himself to his old peers, he is looking at the people one level above him. There is always someone younger, someone richer, someone faster. Alex is exhausted. But he isn't exhausted from building a life. He is exhausted from trying to keep pace with an imaginary ghost. You see, society has invented a fabricated game. We can call it the timeline. It is an invisible schedule that we all unconsciously agreed to the moment we entered the adult world. We believe that if we aren't at a specific point by a specific age, we are doing something fundamentally wrong. 25 means establishing a career, 30 means buying property, 35 means starting a family. We treat this timeline as if it is a law of physics, as if it is an absolute truth of the universe. But this timeline isn't real. It is an illusion created by the collective noise of the crowd. It is a one-size-fits-all blueprint for a species where no two minds, no two circumstances, and no two lives are the same. And yet, we judge our entire self-worth by how well we conform to it. So why does our brain fall for this trap so easily? Because your brain was wired for tribal survival, not modern society. Psychologists call this mechanism social comparison theory. Thousands of years ago in ancient tribes, your social status literally determined your survival. If you fell behind the group, if you were deemed less valuable than your peers, you were exiled, and exile meant death. Your brain is evolutionarily programmed to constantly scan your surroundings to ensure you aren't falling behind the pack. But today, you aren't comparing yourself to 50 people in a small village. Because of the screen in your pocket, you are comparing your everyday mundane reality to the highly curated, absolute best highlights of billions of people. Combine this with what psychologists call the availability heuristic, our tendency to judge reality by the extreme examples that come to mind most easily. You see 5 successful entrepreneurs on your feed, and your brain becomes convinced that everyone else is wildly successful and you are the only one failing. Then comes hedonic adaptation. You achieve a goal, you feel a brief spike of joy, and your brain immediately resets your anxiety to keep you striving for more resources. Your brain isn't trying to make you happy. It is trying to keep you running. But this is not just a modern problem. 2,000 years ago, the Roman philosopher Seneca noticed this exact same anxiety plaguing the elite classes of the Roman Empire. These were people who had immense wealth, status, and power. Yet they were deeply unhappy. exhausted, and constantly measuring their lives against one another. Seneca offered an antidote in his essay On Tranquility of Mind. He introduced a concept called euthymia. Euthymia is the state of believing in yourself and trusting that you are on the right path, without being distracted by the countless tracks of others crossing yours. Seneca understood something fundamental about human nature. Looking at the runners next to you doesn't make you faster. It just makes you lose your way. And this leads to the most counterintuitive truth about your anxiety. Right now, you think you feel behind because you are too slow. You think that if you work harder, optimize your morning routine, and achieve more, you will finally catch up. You will finally feel at peace. But you are running on a treadmill. You are trying to win a race that doesn't exist, using a map drawn by society, running toward a finish line that moves backward every time you take a step forward. Your problem isn't your speed. Your problem is your direction. You don't need better running shoes. You need to step off the track entirely. The great Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu famously observed the natural world and said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Your life is not a linear timeline. It is an organic, non-linear journey. When you force your life into a rigid 5-year plan based on what other people are doing, you break it. So how do you actually step off the track? You stop using a stopwatch, and you start using a compass. A stopwatch measures how fast you are going compared to others. A compass simply measures if you are actually heading in a direction that means something to you. The next time you feel that Sunday night panic creeping in, the next time you feel the urge to rush, pause and ask yourself, am I actually upset with the reality of my life? Or am I just upset that my life doesn't match the invisible schedule? Are these desires even mine? Or did I borrow them from the expectations of the crowd? True progress isn't about reaching societal milestones before your peers. True progress is the quiet confidence of walking your own path, even when it looks completely different from everyone else's. You cannot be behind in a life that belongs entirely to you. The only way to lose a race that doesn't exist is to spend your whole life running it. Stop looking at the runners next to you. They are just as lost as you are. If you woke up tomorrow in a world where no one else's achievements were visible to you, what would you actually want to do with your day?